A Kentucky county clerk refusing to issue any marriage licenses in order to avoid giving licenses to same-sex couples. Well, now the clerk is facing a lawsuit on behalf of gay and straight couples, but several clerks across the state are also refusing to comply with the Supreme Court same-sex marriage ruling. They say they're fighting to protect their religious convictions.
I think they do have the right to live however they choose, but I do too. I have the same right.
How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as I am able.
Joining us is former prosecutor AnnaYum and defense attorney Brian Claypool. Good to see you both. Anna, I mean, how is this clerk's or any of these clerks' First Amendment religious freedom being infringed?
Well, that's an excellent question, Greg. I mean, that's where we have to draw the balancing act, is the balance between their religious freedoms and then, of course, their role as a public servant. And I think that's the main issue that this clerk is facing in terms of potential liability here. It sounds like she wants to have her cake and eat it too. I mean, she wants to keep her job because she's entitled to it and she feels entitled to it. But at the same time, she doesn't want to honor what is now considered the law of the land based upon the recent Supreme Court decision about same-sex marriage licenses. So I think that's the biggest quandary here, is that how is she going to be able to tell her constituents and tell everyone else that this is their right, but I'm not going to do it because I have my own religious freedoms. Not only is she facing potential civil liability as she is right now, but she's also facing potential criminal liability because it is a Class A misdemeanor in the state of Kentucky for official misconduct in the first degree, specifically pertaining to public servants.
And in fact, let's put, I believe it's the Attorney General's statement up on the screen right now. Here it is. Any clerk that refuses to issue marriage licenses is opening himself or herself up to potential legal liability and sanctions. The Attorney General, Brian, is right on the law, is he not? Because freedom of religion is not the freedom to impose your religion on others, but the liberty to practice one's own religion, and that's not really being infringed here on the county clerks.
Well, Greg, I think what's happening here is you need a transition period to enforce the Supreme Court decision. Anytime there's a landmark decision like this, there's a trial period where I believe in this situation, people like city clerks nationwide, other employees of state and local agencies who administer marriage licenses, they need to meet with their employer and be educated on this new law that's come down by the Supreme Court, so that they understand that they must follow the law or face repercussions. So in many respects, I think this might be a little bit of an overreaction by the Attorney General. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction by filing the lawsuit.
I mean, look, Anna,
well, no, it isn't.
Let's take another example. If I'm a clerk, a public official, and I have certain duties to perform, somebody comes before me and I say, did you have premarital sex? Because I'm a Catholic, I'm against that. And they say yes, then, oh, okay, I'm not going to give you a marriage license because that's going to offend me, the fact that you had premarital sex. I mean, the slippery slope here is steep, is it not?
That's absolutely right. And Greg, what I was going to say is that this behavior is analogous to, let's say, a peace officer who decides not to arrest someone who committed a crime because it's against his religion to do so. Well, that's not part of his duties. And if you can't comply with what your public servant duties are, then you should be looking for a different type of job. That's absolutely right. Her beliefs, and she's completely entitled to have her own beliefs, that's fine. But if that impinges upon her duties as a public servant, when she took the oath to uphold the Constitution, to uphold the laws, well, then that's going to be a real problem. And I think that's where the real issue is, exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah. You know, Brian, I mean, here's the point. The clerk's liberty of conscience related to her religion does not override the right of other citizens to enjoy the benefits of the laws announced by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Greg, I agree with that. And Anna is correct that this clerk needs to possibly get another job or have different job duties. I'm not saying the clerk is right for what he's doing. He's not correct. He needs to honor the Supreme Court decision. What I'm saying, though, is a lot of these clerks nationwide were hired under the pretext that, hey, I don't have to issue, in most states, I don't have to issue a marriage license to a gay couple. Now the law's changed. All I'm saying is There's a transition period. These employers, these agencies need to meet with their employees, vet them, make sure they will honor and uphold the law. And if they don't, then they need to either get another job or do different job responsibilities.
Well,
all I'm saying is I think the lawsuit, this is a good opportunity for the gay community to meet with these folks, try to educate them, and have this be a teachable moment instead of filing lawsuits.
It was inevitable that the First Amendment would collide with the 14th Amendment, and here we have it. There will be more cases. Brian and Anna, have a great 4th of July holiday weekend. Thanks for being with us.
Same to you. Thank you.
You too, Greg.